It's a waffly one today, because I've been caught red-handed shopping at Temu again. Excuse me, I've got a brew. I honestly went for this because I've looked everywhere for one of these and could not find one. So it's just a little ceramic palette with a lid that you can use as an extra mixing space, and it is a nice size because it fits right on my desk, whereas quite a lot of the ones that I have don't. Anyway, sketchbook might be a bit of a giveaway. I have been suckered in to buying some paint from Temu, and I don't know why I do it, because I know I won't like it, but it gives me something to witter about. Anyway, the first thing I've got was this, which is, I have no great expectations from this. I think it just said Chinese watercolour, but I think it is intended to be a bit of a dupe of Kuretake Gansai Tambi colours. So have a look. It comes in a pine box, which is, I mean, it's nice enough, it works, but it's pretty cheap and nasty. The lovely looking design on the front is just a piece of card that's been glued on. Excuse my mucky fingernails, I've been changing nibs and cleaning out fountain pens. It's one of my other obsessions. So, slide off the lid, take out the little colour sheet, which does kind of look like the colours in the set. These do translate to colour names, but not really any colour names you would recognise. So when I put it through Google Translate, Lens Translate, it came up with things like Tender Goose Yellow and Misty Rain. So it's fine, but it doesn't tell you what these colours really are. And of course, as expected, there is zero pigment information. These, you might think, oh, there's more writing there, that must be some useful pigment. No, it's not. These are little lines of poetry. Sorry, I think that's upside down. These are little lines of poetry and the references from who they're from. So nice, but not very useful. Anyway, the first thing I've noticed is that they have a rather peculiar texture in the pan. So let's get one open, ideally without, oh, they are serrated, they are perforated. Get one open without cutting my finger off. I don't know what they've done to them to get that bizarre texture, but they're a little bit sticky. That is, honestly, that is not a nicotine stain, that is red ink. And yeah, that feels as bumpy as it looks, so meh. I'm not going to put you through watching me open every single one of these. Let's just do a few. I'll try and keep them in the same order as they are on that colour chart as well. No, I failed to open that even with a knife. Absolutely useless. Let's open that one because I'm going to compare them against my Kuretake set. Nope. Fingernails are not working. Crap. Let's see if you can open them without a knife. No. No, you can't. Don't be silly. Oh, maybe. Yep. Fingernails. Where have I hidden my Kuretake? Oh, I've very carefully put it underneath the next things I'm going to look at. It was really helpful of me. Everything tidy to one side so that I could pull it out like ta-da! And I piled a load of other stuff on top of it. So this is the actual Kuretake set, which I have used a little bit. So what do we have that... they don't really compare as well as I thought they might. Let's try a saturate, a very pastel whitey opaque one like that. And there isn't really... yeah. Okay, let's not try that one then. Let's try that one. I can see one that looks similar to that. Come out. This is fiddly. I don't really know what I'm expecting. I haven't tried... Ugh, it's stuck to my finger. I haven't tried this kind of paint from Temu. Oh, that's stuck all over my finger. Lovely. That's going to make a mess later when I get it wet. Delightful. You can see why I end up mucky. Where did that come from? There, I think. Go back in there. They don't fit in the wooden box very well with the cellophane wrappers still on. And the pans are angled and the box is not. So they seem to be fitting in perfectly when I opened it first, but once I've fiddled with it, they're not. So that looks similar to that one, to me. So we'll compare those two. And we'll compare that pink, I think, with that pink. It doesn't want to come out. I should have just opened all these off screen, but I don't know what I was thinking. Anyway. They're very fiddly to open. And let's try and compare a strong... not yellow, that won't show it very well on camera. Let's compare this red with the red in there. It isn't exactly the same red, so we'll give it a bit of a... pop that to one side. I won't pop those out because I'll get in the right muddle. Let's just put my brew over there. I expect these to wet up quite quickly, but I will give them a little squirt. So what we have in that one, what did I say? The red one. I've forgotten what pink one I was going to go for now. Oh, that pink one, I think. It helps if you squirt at the actual paint. Pop our lid on. Let's put our knife somewhere safely away so we don't stab ourselves with it. Which brush do I want? Let's go with this one. It's nice and juicy. Right. Let's have that where I can get hold of it. Yep, wets up quite nicely, so maybe that texture is just in the filling and not really relevant. Can we see what I'm doing? Have I got my hand across what I'm doing? Let's give it some water to play with as well. It's only been down a second and it doesn't really want to lift. I will confess I haven't quite got to grips with how to use these paints yet. Whether they're the Temu knockoff kind or the actual good kind. I'm still getting my head around them being somewhere between gouache and watercolour. If I'm completely honest, I'm not entirely sure I quite understand gouache and watercolour anyway, so we'll see. I've just blobbed that over the side. Don't waste a drip of paint. Yeah, they go quite creamy quite quickly. There's a dog hair in that. Story of my life, that really. Pepto-Bismol pink. There's a dog hair in that too. Let's give that something to play with. So a little extra drop, see what it does. This is a Rhodia Touch sketchbook, which is 100% cotton. I quite like it, I might get another one. If I can justify getting any more sketchbooks, because I possibly now have more sketchbooks than anything. Go away, dog hairs. It's a bit of a muted red. Given it's the only red in the set. I don't think, I can't quite remember, but I don't think this was marketed as any special set, like in the same way that the Kuretake Gansai is marketed as the Art Nouveau set. This was just watercolour, so let's just give that an extra drop of water in there. Just a bit more room to move, if it will. I don't think it will. Well, they are quite opaque, but that's what I expected. I wanted to compare how filled these pans are versus the Kuretake ones. So look. Ah, no. So, whilst they look to be the same size pan, you can see the Kuretake Gansai. The Kuretake ones are quite a bit thinner. So you are getting, although they look to be filled to the same level, I'd say you are probably getting more paint in here than you are in here. This is much thicker. It's twice as thick. I have found that with quite a lot of paint on Temu, where it looks like it's a full pan. With the standard pans, it looks like it's a full up half pan, and then when you get it, you find actually it's a teeny tiny minuscule quarter pan or even smaller, and they just haven't shown you the angles. I don't think they particularly did that with these ones. It was quite clear to see what sort of pans they were, but you still couldn't tell that they were that much thicker. Anyway, let's compare. I mean, these are pretty much the same colour, but that quite clearly has a lot more colour pigment in it and a lot less white. I think this is, colour-wise, this is probably the fairest comparison. But yeah, these are nicer. I can't quite put into words how nicer, but I'll leave you to judge for yourself, perhaps. Pink next. I'm not sure the colour comparison here is quite so fair. Maybe. But again, there's more. I think the difference is that there is more colour pigment and less white and less binder. The pigment here seems to want to travel further. And you might not want that. That might not be a plus point for you. It is for me. And this red, I think this is the least fair colour comparison, this red. They are not really the same red. This is a more orangey red. But it's all we've got, so. Again, that pigment just wants to leap and flow and move, whereas the Temu set, it absolutely does not. Yeah, I can't remember how much I paid for these, but they weren't particularly expensive, so if it's what you're after and you haven't got any issues with shopping on Temu, then yeah. But personally for me, and the box is really annoying, and I can't get those back in there, and I've just made a mess as well. So the other thing I was suckered into buying, and I've seen this so many times, and it just looked nice, and even though I knew it probably wouldn't be, I figured why not. And that is this SeamiArt set, and they do curated sets of different colours, and I went for the purple one because I don't really have a lot of purple paint, and I like purple. Who doesn't like purple? So it looks really nice, and this is marketed as professional paint. Now I'll preface this by saying I'm not going to keep you hanging on for some crashing revelation. It is not professional paint. Comes in a nice box. I don't really need a nice box. I have too many nice boxes. Look, it's foam padded and everything. Completely unnecessary. It comes in one of these wooden boxes with the magnets and the shiny palette on the inside. Yeah, I have seen some companies trying to market these as being handmade and some wondrous ecological selling point. They're not. They're all made in the same factory in China, and it is just stained wood. But anyway, the magnets are a bit grotty. Not sure what they're made out of, that they're rusting, but hey ho. Comes with some swatch that looks like it's watercolour paper, but who knows. And yes, you're going to have to watch me unwrap all of these. So, we've got lilac. Fortunately, these, I'm just going to bang these out. Hang on. Fortunately, they have printed the code on the back, so the code matches up with this, so that's helpful. Or is it? Actually, hang on a minute, unless I had that in the wrong way around. Yeah, right, let's start there. I'm confusing myself now. Lilac, we've got, where are you? Some teeny tiny printing on there that tells us it has 2 stars, which I'm assuming is lightfast. It's something to do with transparency, and probably the other one is to do with staining. I really should know what those symbols mean, but hey-ho. I don't believe any of that for a second, and there is no pigment information. None. It is lilac, that is what it is. And unlike some brands who perforate the edges of these, they haven't, so you have to take the whole sticker off, including the colour details. I could use my knife. The chances of this turning into some sort of bloodfest are increasing. And my knife has just gone all the way in there, down the side of the paint, because I don't think that these are going to be hand poured pans somehow. I'm expecting an extruded block. Although to be fair to them, they don't claim that they are hand poured. Yep, there we go, an extruded block. But we have kept the, does that fall out? Well, it is. It's not bone dry, it's not like a super duper dry cake. Anyway. Lilac. That's not as saturated as I was thinking it was going to be. Hard to tell in a tiny space like that, really. Let's give it a whack on the big paper. Can we see the big paper from here? Yeah. I'd imagine in the sunlight that's going to disappear. Neon violet. Well, I said neon violent for a minute. Oh yes, it is a bit. Let's pop a bit on there anyway. Well, these pretty much look like the colour they are. Some colours don't. And I find myself dipping into the wrong green thinking it's a blue. Alright, well I do know my colours since I recognise that was clearly wrong. Ultramarine pink. Yeah, this is looking very pastel, like there's white mixed in. Permanent magenta. Oh, I meant to put that on the paper as well. There's too many things for my brain to think about in one go. That one. Put a bit of that on there. And when we come back round, I'll see if how well they lift and re-wet and so on. Permanent violet. See, even that looks a bit... It's a bit more transparent than some of them. Violet deep. I'm giving them plenty of water. Get them room to do their thing. But we're going to have to start back at the top and come back the other way now. Lavender. That needs to drop more water. Pale mauve. Mauve is a horrible colour name. Yeah, there's a lot of white in that. That's very opaque. Amethyst, which was a colour I hoped I'd really like, but this looks... yeah, that's got a lot of white in it as well. I prefer my colours transparent, I'll be honest. Oh, I've forgotten to put them on the... Jesus, just 2 things to do and I can't remember to do one of them. That's Lunar Grey. Which ones have we forgotten to put? Right, Pale Mauve, put that on there. How hard is that? Put a colour on the swatch, put the same colour on the paper. Yeah, the Lunar Grey, it's a rather warm, opaque grey. Whenever I hear Lunar, it always makes me think of Daniel Smith and also Jackman's Lunar Black, which is a granulating black with blue in it. Separates out really nicely. That looks that. This is Shadow Violet and it looks like it's granulating. Not a bad thing, I do like granulating paint, but it's granulating and it's quite opaque. Neutral grey. Well, it's a nicer grey in that it's more transparent. Pop that to one side. Pop that over there. Let's see if these lift a bit. We had a bit more, so they've not had a super amount of time to dry. Nope, that doesn't want to lift, that pale pink. I bet this will a bit. No, that's quite staining too. Has lifted, but not. That lifts a lot. This brush holds a lot of water. That one's quite staining. That one's still really wet. I'll come back up here. Oh, that would lift completely to oblivion. That one gone. As would that. Yeah, I think in some of these most of the pigment in them is white with just a hint of something. Same with that one. I really don't like that. I was really hoping I'd like that one. That's just a muddy grey with 0 staining power. And that, for how dark that is, if I get a bit of kitchen roll, I'll show you what I mean about non-staining. Just do that last one. And that one, although it's a bit unfair because that is still wet. Now, if I blot these with some kitchen roll. Now I'm not scrubbing at the paper, they're almost gone. See that? This blue one's just... And for how dark those actually were... Get a clean bit. So I'm not scrubbing at these. These would probably have lifted more, but they were a little bit drier. So, they're pretty colours, but I certainly wouldn't call them professional, and I definitely wouldn't use them for anything you want to display. If you want to use them for practice, for practicing brush marks, don't use them for following tutorials or for colour mixing, because they are not going to give you accurate results. Just have a comparison. I've just picked out some of the purpley kind of stuff that I have. And I want to play with this new palette anyway, so let's just use that bit. This is Petal Shadow. This is a Jackmans granulating range. Oh, it's separated a bit. Come here, you. So you can see that it's significantly nicer than either of these two. Give it plenty of water to play with. I've got, these are also Jackmans. Moonlight. Which is more blue. And which one's this? Nebula. I did wet these up earlier, so these are a better representation of their colours. I thought that the Shadow Violet was going to be a lot more like one of these. Give it a bit. There we go. Right, I hoped. And to be honest, not surprised. I've also got Dusk. I suspect this is going to need a stir as well, if the other one did. I shall give it a stir rather than waste any binder. Can't talk with brushing my mouth. I think this one's got quite a bit of pots pink in it, so this is more pink than purple really, but she says, but it doesn't look like it's pink when it goes down. I've not left myself a space, but I think there is quite a bit of pink in it when it separates out. Or I'm going to have to go back and edit this because I'm talking total biscuits. Who knows? Maybe it doesn't have pots pink in it, maybe I was lying. I thought it did. The reason I'm saying that is because the packaging for that one is that colour. And the swatch on it very much looks like it. What pigment's in that? Nope. I am indeed lying. Pearl orange, viridian green and ultramarine blue. Lies, lies, lies. No potters pink at all. Ignore me, for I am talking bollocks. The other one I was going to test, and I haven't left really very much room for this one, but Rose of Ultramarine, which is a very pretty colour. Very pretty indeed. I don't think it's particularly light fast. Is it? I don't know. I'd have to look that up. Now this is what I thought was going to be more like amethyst in this set. Look at how beautiful that is. That is stunning. It's a shame I haven't given it enough room to move around on here, because that really is. Can you properly see that? Let's take it all the way down there. Just use all the white space we have. Such a pretty colour. If you like doing florals, very nice. But again, this is one for the sketchbook and for scanning. It's not a, if I'm understanding the lightfast on that correctly, it's not. Which is a shame, that such is life. So yeah, you can see the Jackmans granulating are doing their thing. But a better set of purple related colours you could have than that, and that set cost me 15 quid, probably, plus a couple for postage. And I mean, yeah, it comes in a palette, in a fancy box, but is this actually any good for mixing colours on? Let's just have a look. I don't particularly like mixing on plastic because you can see how it's doing, it just beads up. Let's try mixing that darkest one, which is a sort of burgundy kind of affair, really. I've got a nice granulating one from Leica Morpher that's a similar shade, but much, much nicer. What should we mix it with? Mix it with something that's definitely got a load of white in it. And we'll probably get a shade of mud. Actually, that's a nicer grey than... That's a nice warm grey, really. Aye, so... I don't know. I think you could probably get better for your money by buying proper paint from somewhere else. If you just wanted to play with and use it in a sketchbook, then, you know, nobody's going to die. But if you want to do, just don't believe the lie that this is professional paint, because it isn't. Next time I do a review, I'm going to be reviewing some stuff from AliExpress, and I'm going to be comparing things that, I don't want to get in legal trouble here, things that are pretending to be very high-end artist grade paints that I suspect are not. In particular, a company that pretend they're based in one country when they are very much not. But my particular grievance is that is the astronomical price and the sort of leaning heavily on hype and FOMO to get people to buy things that they don't need and could find elsewhere. Rather than just, I mean, at least these paints aren't marketed. I mean, yeah, these ones say they're professional and they're not. But they're not making out to be some ethical brand of, you know, super duper artist quality. Yeah. There's a difference. We all know when we go shopping on Temu that this stuff is likely to be a bit dodgy, a bit not brilliant. And that's why it's cheap. But the stuff that is extremely high priced and is pretending that it is super duper artist quality and a comparable company to like Daniel Smith and all the rest, I don't like that. I think artists really do suffer with high, particularly beginners, in that feeling that if you buy expensive artist quality materials, then you will be a better artist. And that's not entirely incorrect, in that getting great results with poor quality materials is always going to be harder. Although a good artist can get good results with poor quality materials. Yeah, it's underhanded marketing tactics, I think. I'm just not keen on. Anyway, we'll get to that next time. I've got to wait for it to arrive, so it'll happen when it happens. And I think I have genuinely run out of things to procrastinate with, and I'm going to have to carry on making that big build. Before I go, have a look at how those are granulating, because those are really nice. Jackman's granulating range, go and have a look. But also you can see that rose of ultramarine is doing its thing now, and you can kind of see the bluey ultramarine showing through in some areas, which is what makes it so pretty. And my autofocus is really not liking me doing that. Anyway, ta-ta!